The call 6:14 a.m. Your alarm never rings. Instead, a phone vibrates across the nightstand. Three buzzes, then silence. You answer. Agent, we need you downtown. Now. No explanation, no briefing, just urgency. You throw on yesterday's clothes, badge, holster, keys. The city outside is already moving. People buying coffee, kids heading to school. No one realizes. One decision made in the next few hours could change everything. You arrive at the field office. Security doors, fluorescent lights, agents walking fast without making eye contact. Then you hear the words, "We've got our biggest case in years." The room goes quiet. Photos cover the screen, victims, locations, timelines, a suspect with no clear pattern, no obvious motive. This isn't like the movies. Real FBI investigations begin with information, tiny fragments, witness statements, digital records, financial trails, security footage. You don't chase villains through explosions every day. You chase facts, and facts can be stubborn. The special agent in charge points directly at you. You're leading this. The room turns, eyes waiting, expectations rising. You swallow hard. Because this isn't training anymore. This is real, and the clock has already started. Level 2, the crime scene. Every detail matters. You step beneath yellow tape. Forensics teams are already working. Photographs first. Always photographs. Evidence untouched. Documented exactly as found. Real investigators preserve scenes before they interpret them. Because assumptions destroy cases. You move slowly, observing, listening, noticing. A broken watch, scuff marks near a doorway, a coffee cup left half full. Nothing dramatic, yet everything significant. The loudest clue might be the quietest one. Witnesses wait nearby. Fear changes memory. People remember colors incorrectly, times inaccurately, distances poorly. Your job isn't to judge, it's to verify. You ask open-ended questions. What did you notice? What happened next? What stood out? Patterns begin to emerge. Different stories, same details. One witness mentions a vehicle, another remembers a phrase. Someone recalls a distinctive tattoo, small pieces, building a larger picture. This is what investigation really looks like. Patience, discipline, documentation. Hours pass, then someone calls your name. Evidence recovered, a fingerprint, partial, but usable. Suddenly, the case breathes. For the first time all morning, you have something solid. And sometimes, that's all an investigation needs. One thread, one lead, one chance. Level 3. Following the trail back at headquarters. Screens light up. Analysts go to work. The FBI relies heavily on teamwork, intelligence analysts, behavioral specialists, digital forensic experts, field agents. No one solves major cases alone. The fingerprint enters the system. You wait. Coffee turns cold. Conversations become whispers. Then, a match. Not enough for an arrest, but enough to open doors. The suspect has history, aliases, travel records, known associates. Suddenly, the investigation expands. You review surveillance footage frame by frame. Something catches your attention. The suspect wasn't alone. A second individual appears briefly, missed during the first review. That's why investigators revisit evidence repeatedly. Fresh eyes reveal hidden truths. You map connections. Who called whom? Who transferred money? Who rented vehicles? Criminal investigations often resemble puzzles with missing pieces. You don't force them together. You let evidence guide the picture. Hours become evening. The pressure intensifies. Reporters gather outside. Leadership demands updates. Families demand answers. But speed without accuracy creates disaster. You choose caution because the wrong arrest ruins lives. The right arrest changes them. And somewhere tonight, your suspect is still moving. Level 4, the behavioral profile. Who are you hunting? Not just where, who. Behavioral analysis isn't mind reading, it's probability. Patterns, choices, risk factors. You meet with specialists. They study behavior, victim selection, timing, escalation, control. Every action tells a story. Not about certainty, about likelihood. The profile develops slowly, organized, methodical, comfortable adapting under pressure, possibly experienced avoiding detection. You pin notes across the board, photos, maps, connections. The room becomes a visual timeline. And then, you notice something others missed. Every incident occurred near transportation hubs. Coincidence? Maybe. But investigators don't ignore repeated variables. They test them. You pull transit records, station footage, ticket purchases. The list narrows. Your pulse rises. A pattern emerges. For the first time, you aren't reacting. You're anticipating, thinking 2 steps ahead. The case is changing, and so are you. The rookie who answered a phone call this morning is gone. Now, you're the agent responsible for stopping what comes next. Level 5. The breakthrough midnight. Most of the city sleeps. The office doesn't. You stare at a wall covered in evidence. Dead ends, half answers, questions without resolution. Then, a detail clicks, a timestamp, 2 records overlapping unexpectedly. You verify it, then verify it again. Investigations demand confidence, not assumptions. You call the team together. Energy floods back into exhausted faces. You explain the connection, a location, previously overlooked, potentially critical. Units mobilize, vehicles roll out, communication channels open, every instruction precise, every movement coordinated. Real operations depend on preparation, clear roles, defined objectives, contingency plans, no heroics, only professionalism. You arrive near the target area. The atmosphere changes, tension thickens, everyone knows what's at stake. You take one final breath, because whatever waits ahead will define this case. Months of work could succeed, or collapse. The radio crackles, movement confirmed, all units ready. You tighten your grip, eyes forward, mind focused. The hunt is no longer theoretical. The biggest case of your career has finally reached its turning point, and the next decision could change everything. Level 6, the operation. The radio comes alive. All units, stand by. The command post falls silent, maps spread across tables, entry routes highlighted, exit points identified, emergency medical teams positioned nearby. Real operations are planned meticulously, every role assigned, every risk considered, because improvisation is a last resort, not a strategy. You receive the final briefing. The objective is clear. Protect lives, secure evidence, take suspects into custody lawfully. No shortcuts, no reckless moves. The convoy rolls out, streetlights blur past, your heartbeat matches the rhythm of the tires. You glance around. Nobody speaks. Everyone understands the stakes. You arrive. Perimeter teams move into place. Observation units confirm activity inside. The suspect is here. Years of training narrow into one moment. You hear the order. Execute. The operation begins, controlled, measured, disciplined, exactly as practiced. This isn't chaos, it's coordination, and tonight, coordination might save lives. Level 7, the confrontation. The door opens. Commands echo. Federal agents, show your hands. Time stretches, adrenaline surges, every movement matters. One suspect complies immediately, another hesitates. Tension spikes. You remember your training. Stay calm. Communicate clearly. Avoid unnecessary escalation. In reality, most successful arrests happen through control, not force. Seconds feel endless. Then, compliance. Handcuffs click. The room exhales. The immediate threat ends, but the mission isn't over. Investigators secure the scene. Evidence technicians begin documentation. Electronic devices are collected carefully. Everything cataloged. Everything traceable. Chain of custody matters. Evidence must withstand scrutiny in court, because solving a case means nothing if justice cannot be proven. You survey the room, boxes, documents, hard drives, photographs, a lifetime of hidden secrets, and buried somewhere within them are the answers you've spent days chasing. Level 8, the hidden truth. Back at headquarters, the real work resumes. Major investigations rarely end with an arrest. Sometimes, they truly begin there. Digital forensic teams examine devices. Financial experts trace transactions. Interview specialists conduct questioning. The picture expands. The case was bigger than expected. Multiple individuals involved, multiple victims affected, one decision connected to another, dominoes falling across years. You review the evidence again, and suddenly, the motive becomes clear. Not random, not impulsive, deliberate, calculated. The pieces finally align. This is why investigators avoid rushing conclusions. Early assumptions blind people. Evidence reveals truth. Families begin receiving updates. Some cry, some ask questions, some simply sit in silence. For them, this case was never a headline. It was personal. You understand that now, more deeply than before. Because behind every file number is a human story, and behind every investigation are people waiting for answers. Level 9. The cost dawn approaches. The city wakes up again, but you haven't slept. Coffee cups crowd your desk. Your suit carries yesterday's wrinkles. Exhaustion settles into your bones. People often imagine investigations as nonstop action. They rarely see this part: the paper, the testimony preparation, the evidence reviews, the responsibility. Every report must be accurate, every statement defensible, because justice depends on precision. The special agent in charge stops beside your desk. You did good work. Simple words, heavy meaning. Level 10. The case closed. Weeks later, the courtroom stands silent. Evidence presented, facts examined, witnesses heard. Justice moves deliberately, because fairness matters. The verdict arrives. Relief washes through the room. Families embrace. Tears fall freely. Years of uncertainty finally end. Outside the courthouse, reporters wait. Cameras flash, questions fly. You decline the spotlight. Because this was never about recognition. It was about service. You return to the office. The investigation board has been cleared, photos removed, documents archived, one chapter finished, another waiting somewhere beyond the horizon. The special agent in charge hands you a new file. You stare at it for a moment, then smile. Not because the work is easy, because it matters. You glance around the bullpen, analysts studying screens, agents reviewing reports, support staff keeping everything moving, people united by purpose. The reality of the job becomes clear. It's not endless car chases. It's persistence, integrity, teamwork, attention to detail, the willingness to carry responsibility when others need answers. You pick up the file, take a breath, and walk toward whatever comes next. Because somewhere, another phone will ring. Another family will need justice. Another mystery will demand patience. And when that moment arrives, you'll be ready. Not because you know the outcome, but because you've learned how to pursue the truth. One fact at a time, one decision at a time, one case at a time. Fade to black. The city keeps moving, and the work continues.